Welcome viewers to another edition of Brave Namibia, where we celebrate both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. In our first clip today, we head to the coast, where Sheldon Johannes caught up with Quinton van Rooyen, who is the chairman of the SPCA in Walvis Bay.
And hi viewers, my name is Quinton van Rooyen. I'm the chairperson of Walvis Bay SPCA, and today we're talking to Irongo newspaper here in Walvis Bay, and we're very grateful to have you guys and to come check in what we're doing here at the SPCA. So at the moment we have 6 staff members, of whom 2 are management staff and then 4 are kennel staff, and they run a very tight ship here to keep all of our mates here happy. At the moment we have 28 cats and 34 dogs that we're looking after, but it can fluctuate up to about 60 animals or slightly more of any one of them. And we obviously look after their welfare. Animals that aren't being looked after come stay with us, and then we try and find better homes for them. And also we try and run as many educational campaigns in our community as well to help people and to educate them to look after their animals much better.
And then Quinton, how do you know which pets to take off the stick?
Okay. All right. So we work hand in hand with the community. They inform us if they suspect that there's neglect or abuse or just abandonment of animals, and then we work according to very strict guidelines as set by the national SPCA in order to decide whether we should take animals or not. But the decision is always in the best interest of the animal, and we try and take the human emotion out of it and look at what the best is for the animal, and that's the best way we find to make our decisions. Okay, so to run an organization like this, obviously I've mentioned that we work hand in hand with the community and a lot of volunteers. I myself am a volunteer, and there's 4 of us currently on the committee as volunteers. We help with the running of the business, so to speak, and our kennel master and our manager are the ones who take care of the day-to-day management and operations here at the facility. They make those executive decisions in that regard. And then again, we are 100% volunteer funded and sponsored. So all of the food, all of the finances, and that goes all the way through to salaries, are from people who support us. And obviously, it takes a selfless person to do that, because obviously most of us are involved with our own jobs and our own businesses, and we have to make time for these sort of things. So there's a couple of sacrifices that has to be made. We have fantastic volunteers who come on weekends between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock to walk our dogs, for instance, or just to come play with our cats. They bring the kids in. We have fantastic fosters who help us to socialize animals. They take them into their own homes and help to socialize them. And so it's very much a community project. We get help from businesses who sponsor, whether it's through food or through financial assistance, through services, cleaning chemicals, and that sort of thing. So it's 100%, it takes a community to run an organization like that. And we're very grateful for the support that we have. And not only that, we also try and work with as many of the animal welfare organizations in our community, so that we have an open door with each of us, because we're all doing this for the best goodwill of our animals. And there's no point in building silos in that sort of regard. So we try to extend a cooperative gestures with everybody, so that we can have these things run smoothly for all. It's not like we want to take the credit for everything, or we all want to see animals happy and living their best lives. All right, so our plans for the year, first and foremost, I think quite an important one, we are trying to put together a spaying campaign within the next 3 weeks. It'll happen before the end of February, so we would like to get a mobile clinic to come into the community of Walvis Bay and help us with the sterilization of animals for people who don't necessarily have the finances to go via traditional vets. Then we can assist them with that, just to bring our street populations down of animals. And we'll be advertising that quite a bit. The committee's AGM for 2022 will be happening on the 23rd, I think it is, the 3rd Thursday of February. And so that'll be just a catch-up of our events in 2022. And then there's another spaying clinic that we'll have later on in the year with in collaboration once again with Walvis Bay municipality, and maybe we can bring some of the other wildlife domestic animal organizations into the fold with us. And then a whole bunch of fundraisers, and those will be communicated as we go closer to the time. Because fundraising is obviously a very big part, unfortunately, of what we have to do, and it's probably the not so nice part of what we have to do. But again, everything we do is for the animals, so unfortunately, one has to do that sometimes. Well, to the businesses out there, I think a business. We're very fortunate that a lot of businesses in Walvis Bay are part of the community in that sense that they take on the corporate responsibility of being good citizens, and we just want to thank them mostly, the ones that are involved with us. And if anybody does have a social responsibility or a CSI project that they would like to get involved with, I would love it for them to consider the SPCA. We are always looking for more people to get involved with our projects, and the more we do, the better better it can be for Walvis Bay and for the animals here. We'd like to get as many animals off the streets. There's always work that can be done around the shelter where we would like to expand in terms of our facilities, our cages, play areas to reduce kennel stress. So these are some of the bigger projects that we'll be doing this year, and for that we will obviously need funding. So if anybody wants to get in touch, even if it's just a corporate day out with your staff to come walk some of the dogs, get the blood flowing, and bring everybody together. It's a great way for people to get involved with a charity like the SPCA.
And then, do you guys ever have problems with like space here?
Yeah, we had it a few times last year where space became the demand was just such that we, unfortunately, we had to start turning people away. And that speaks to the need there is for, I think, once again, for spaying campaigns, but also for us to expand on our facility. It's sometimes 60, 70 kennels aren't enough, or space for 60, 70 dogs. We had close to 60 cats at one stage last year. We're very fortunate. We also work with the Have a Heart Foundation, who are a fantastic organization that helps to catch and neuter release. So they'll go to communities and capture an entire community of cats and then spay them and then reintroduce them, so that they go back to where they're happy, but they can't breed because cats can breed exponentially. And if left unchecked, then we suddenly have a massive problem with cats. It's nice to have cats around. They get rid of the mice and all the other pests that one has around. So they're sometimes a good thing to have around, but we just have to keep those populations in check. Yeah, look, I mean, I think we're all trying to get towards the same goal, and I think it's great if people, if you feel like you want to do something slightly differently to us, there's no reason why we can't work together, and I think go for it. The more people we have in the animal welfare organizations, the better. It's just great that what I like about the SPCA is we have a national committee that's absolutely essential for us in passing down information, and if we ever need, if we're out of our depth sometimes, it's very nice to bounce things off them, and they always come with wonderful workable solutions. And I would even encourage other organizations, if they're stuck with something, to come chat to us, because it's all for the welfare of the animals. It's all about broadening that reach to get to the animals, and whether it's this organization or that.
Take a load off and tune into another episode of Brave Namibia, when we take a look at both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians sharing their stories. Brave Namibia is broadcasted on NTV Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and oneup2.com, and broadcasted on the following Facebook platforms on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and all Namibia Media Holdings pages. For more information, contact the Brave team at brave@synergy.com.na. Brave Namibia, for the ordinary and extraordinary Namibians.
We know that violence against women and girls is pervasive everywhere in the world. So now imagine a conflict breaks out, or a natural disaster happens, or a global pandemic like the one we have seen since 2020 breaks out. Institutions are often focused on addressing this crisis. And in conflict settings, some of the institutions that are responsible for protecting women's rights collapse. The United Nations and UN Women work around the world to address some of these challenges. We make sure that women and girls who are victims of violence access services, including justice, health, psychosocial support, and reintegration. We also work to address the root causes that generate violence, for example, addressing harmful social norms and masculinities.
We can prevent violence against women before it happens. It means tackling the root causes of violence, working with men and boys to end power over women, which is often normalized and justified. Transforming these root causes and preventing violence needs political commitment and leadership, laws and policies that promote gender equality, investments in women's organizations, and resources for prevention work. But prevention also starts with you. You can start by educating yourself. Speak out when you get a chance. Advocate for survivors' rights and always listen to survivors. Preventing violence against women and girls before it actually happens is the most effective way of ending it. So let's start now.
My name is Beatha Kandume. I am the voice of people living with disability in northern regions of Namibia. And what made me start this initiative is actually, let me say it's just according to what I have went through in my life and my experiences as a person living with disability. And I realized what we people living with disabilities are going through and the challenges that we are facing, that there's a lot that needs to be done. And the changes that I am hoping to take place in the lives of people living with disabilities, first of all, let me just talk about the accessibilities in our community and in the country at large. Some people are wheelchair users, some use crutches, some are limping, and you find some of the places which are just not accessible, like even government hospitals and offices that render services to the whole country. You find some of the offices that are not accessible. You want to go into the office for a service, but you can't go there when you are alone. You need someone to assist you going in the office. But as people living with disability, we need to be independent. Therefore, I think accessibility in every area, every community needs to be considered in the lives of people living with disability. And another thing what I think needs to be improved in providing education for people living with disability. I understand and I know that in Namibia we have what we call a system called inclusive education for all. The word inclusive means they are including everyone in the country when it comes to education. But I don't really think this is taking place in our country. I think this is just something that was, what can I say? It was just amended, but it was not fully put to work. Because as from my experience and from the from what I have found out, there are a lot of like little kids that are still staying in the houses with their parents, not going to school because of their disabilities, and because the schools environments are not allowing them to be there according to their condition. Because when it comes to disability, we are having a lot of conditions. Well, we have people who have cerebral palsy, we have children who have Down syndromes, and we have children who are wheelchair bound as well. Like let me see, for example, in Ondangwa, the school that I have so far tried to go or send someone to look for information for me, there is Oluno Primary School. We only have one child who is wheelchair bound in Oluno, but Oluno Primary, but the school is not accessible for a wheelchair either. Other kids have to pick her, they have to lift her, maybe put her down or lift her to help her cross the high stairs that are in the school. So this, I think she's not independent, because even when it comes to going to the toilets, some toilets are not accessible. You find the toilet is very small, the wheelchair can't fit. If you just push the wheelchair in, then the door won't cross. The door won't be able to cross, but then when it comes to privacy, it's like the person is exposed because the door can't cross. And another thing is coming to what the government has done since independence when it comes to people now living with disability. I think our government has done some of the things, although it's not really satisfactory, or it's not up to the standards of the needs of people living with disability, but the government has tried. I am thankful for what the government has done, but I think the government needs to do much more when it comes to accessibility. As I have said, hospitals, like people living with disabilities needs certain materials that some of them go use at home, but you go to the hospital, these materials are not available in government pharmacies, so parents have to go to private pharmacies to buy all this material for their children, for their family members who are living with disabilities. But most of the family members, most of the families can't afford. Things are so expensive in pharmacies. And when it comes to education, there is we have special schools for people living with disability, but I think these special schools, something needs to be done, because these special schools are only taking certain children with certain disabilities, like the ones that are visually impaired, and the one that also have the hearing problems, the hearing impaired also. But when it comes to the wheelchair bounds and the ones with cerebral palsies, Down syndromes, those kids, when the parents go there to register their kids, they are asked to bring along caretakers, which parents can't afford. They can't afford paying for caretakers. The government was supposed to also employ caretakers in this type of schools, because they are needed there. The kids that have been enrolled in such schools have special needs that need to be attended by caretakers. Another thing, me as a person now living with disability, what I think the world has done so far, if I want to bring it worldwide, I don't really have much information when it comes to other countries, although I see videos and information on social media. But I can say the whole world need to do much more when it comes to people living with disability, so that the whole world can accept and can see disability as a normal thing. It's not like a person living with disability goes out into malls and the way people are looking at you, it's like they are surprised. It's like a new thing to them. I want disability to be normal worldwide. So the only thing that I really want to do for people living with disability, I really want to outreach and go out there in communities, in villages, find those kids, especially kids, and everyone who's living with disability that are just kept in the houses, not going anywhere, not going to school. I want to go find those people. The kids, I want to find them and bring them to school. Under now this system that the government has brought up, which is inclusive education for all. I want everyone, including people living with disability, to be included in the system of education in Namibia, and not only in Namibia, worldwide. So I am looking out for those parents that are having children living with disabilities. I have found some, so far I have found around 7 children living with disabilities, which I will be starting with them and see what to go forth or how I will go forth. And in this system, this initiative, it's just something that I am volunteering. I'm having some people that are helping me though, and I'm also willing.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
That's it for today, folks. If you know of someone you feel should feature on our show, please contact us at brave@synergy.com.na.